In this lesson, we will learn how to create real-time previews of our work from Maya. Now, we can't always rely on the playback speed in Maya to determine if our work is playing back at the correct frame rate. For lower res scenes, where not so much is going on, our frame rate might be fine. But to know for sure, we can go ahead and create a preview. Because watch this, if we were to go ahead and start back from the beginning, go ahead and grab the character here and press the 3 key to view a smooth preview of her geometry. Remember, this is just a preview. It's something we see in the viewport. She's not actually smoothed out. But now if we were to try to play back the animation, take a look, we're getting a lot of lagging. So this is why we want to do a preview, because if we neglect to do this step and we render out so many frames only to realize that the animation looks bad at a certain point, well, after rendering out so many frames, now you've wasted a lot of time, a lot of money. And now, of course, redoing this animation would be a bit of a hassle now, wouldn't it? Even if we had to go ahead and change a pose or two, still that's time wasted. So let's go ahead and take the time to create these previews. So what we can do is head over to Window, Playblast Options. That's what the preview tool in Maya is called, a Playblast. I'll go ahead and head over to Edit and reset the settings. Alright, sweet. So what we could do from here is choose our range, whether it be start and end, or our time slider. Of course, we'll want to work with the time slider because we want to view the entire animation. And then here we can go ahead and choose to work with the camera sequencer. So we'd go ahead and enable that from here. Views. This will make sure that we can still view our preview even if we don't choose to save this out. If I were to go ahead and turn off views, you can see that now we're able to save our file. But now keep in mind, if we go ahead and uncheck save the file, it will check on views again. Alright, sweet. So that's essentially how that works. And then show ornaments. This will hide things like the local axis handle in Maya, our camera name, things like that. It's only going to show us the objects that we've created right here in our viewport. So I might go ahead and turn off show ornaments. Render off screen. This is if we'd like to render from the script editor. And then multi-camera output. This is if we're dealing with a stereo camera. So this is what we'd use here. We can choose our format, whether it be QuickTime, AVI, or image. Let's go ahead and work with image so we can work with Maya's FCheck window. And I'll go ahead and switch this from GIF to, let's say, either TIFF or Maya. So this is Maya's native image format. We can go ahead and work with that. And then we can go ahead and choose our quality if we would like. If I were to switch to AVI, switch to QuickTime, take a look, we can adjust our quality. If I were to switch this over to image, can't quite change that quality here. And then we can choose our display size, whether it be from this window here or from our custom render settings at the top here. Or, if we'd like, we can go ahead and choose a custom setting for our view. I like to choose from window. And then normally you'll have a large enough window where you can see some good detail in your Playblasts. But you have other options to change that if you'd like. You can adjust the size of your Playblast. So according to the size here, in this case, the window, now we get to choose if it's the full window size by setting this to 1 or 100%, or perhaps half the size. I'll set that to 0.5. Now remember, this is just a preview, so since you're only previewing animation, chances are you'll want to set this to about 0.5. It doesn't necessarily have to be at 1, unless, let's say, you want your director to preview the animation, and then, of course, you might go ahead and increase the size. But if it's just for your needs, you might go ahead and drop that size down so you're not working with so large of a file. And then we can choose our frame padding. So if we are working with image, we can say, all right, this is how much frame padding I would like. Remove temporary files. This is probably what you want if you decide not to save out this file. So I'm not going to save this out, but you can if you'd like. But you can go ahead and remove any temporary files after the Playblast has been made. And then if you'd like to save, you can go ahead and enable that here, and then you can go ahead and browse to the directory you'd like to render your Playblast out from. Now keep in mind, if you're dealing with image, again, you're going to have this many frames, so you probably want to create a folder where all of those images get stored. Unless you're using the temporary option here where it doesn't save out your files, then you don't have to worry about that. But if you choose to save this out and you choose to work with the FCheck window, let's go ahead and make sure we create a separate folder so we can organize these Playblasts. All right, sweet. So it's now time to go ahead and Playblast. Everything looks good. I'll go to make sure to turn off save. And I'll click on Playblast. And now you'll see that Maya is going to do a quick render. And this is a great time to study the animation as it plays back slow, because we can see everything, and we can make sure that everything looks great before we actually take a look at our preview. Now, here is our FCheck preview. Fantastic. All right, so the reason why I wanted to work with FCheck, because it's a really cool tool. Now, watch this. If we wanted to, we could, of course, stop the animation. We can jump back to the beginning or jump to the very end. These are the same playback controls we see right here in Maya. We can go ahead and play it in reverse. We can go ahead and play it forward. But here's something else we could do. We can go ahead and change our frame rate. Let's say if we decided to speed up the animation a bit. Well, we could always just go ahead and set this to, let's say, 30 frames per second. And now you can see that the animation has sped up to that frame rate. Or we can go ahead and drop this right back to 24. Another thing you could do is go ahead and hit the space bar to pause. And then you can use the left mouse button to scrub through it. So as we drag over to our left, we're reversing the animation. As we drag to our right, we're playing it forward. And then here's something else we can do. We can actually draw inside of this window. So if we say, hey, around frame 25, here's where we set frame, I'd like to have the character hop a little bit higher so someone can come in and then it can actually draw with the right mouse button right here inside of the window. And watch this, it's going to get saved on that frame, which is really cool. If you'd like to clear that out, you can head over to File and choose Revert. So again, you have a lot of options. If you wanted, you could have some fun and say, I like that pose. I'm going to make a smiley face because I like this pose so much. You can go ahead and do that as well. I'll make sure to add eyebrows. How about a nose? Sweet. All right. So there we have it. So on frame 25, we're really satisfied with this pose. You can see that because of the smiley face. And as we play through this, we'll eventually see that smile. All right, fantastic. So in this lesson, we've learned how to create real-time previews so we can view our animations at the correct frame rate. And again, that can save us a lot of time, money, and effort.